I will say this, if there was a smoking gun on CD-ROM that would label CD-ROM a monster like Starman, you're never going to find it now. You're never going to find it now.
Oh, he's wiped those hard drives by now, for sure.
He's actively deleting his internet stuff.
The thing, before this interview, I was still thinking, like, I don't have that smoking gun on CD. I think he's just a idiot, right?
Bro, Keem asked CD, he was like, whoever's in the back, if you want to throw down with Bible verses, I'll go verse for verse right now.
And I feel like what he got fired for is stuff that myself, Boogie, and Keemstar has done with Mike.
Yep.
Right? Like, Mike did worse than gooning with, underage people. Right? Did worse. But throughout...
17 years ago.
17 years ago, right. With Time Heals All,
he's
correct.
Clearly not a repeat offender.
Right. Out there that's worth firing for.
That's kind of where I'm at. There are red flags everywhere with CD-ROM, and it's like, he must be a creep. But we got no receipts of him being a creep. We got receipts of him defending his creep friend. That's what we got.
The reason why we brought you up today, because your name's been floating around, especially with the whole controversy going on with CD-ROM. So your name's kept getting brought up. So we wanted to bring you on so you can, if somebody's mentioning you or talking about you, we definitely want you to defend yourself and, hear your side of the story. Because now we were made aware of you because CD-ROM, who was part of the Lolcow universe, said that you weren't a victim and that you were actually somebody that just was a whistleblower, which was our understanding, which I just thought. But this is a new revelation. So you were actually a victim?
Correct. And there's more to that. So the relationship would go on for various year and a half until 2017. And it was then that when I was 13, I had enough. And so while I was digging through exposed videos and posts about him, I noticed that somebody posted his mother's Facebook and decided to reach out and tell her what he was doing to me and various other children. But I do not have the chat anymore, as that was years ago. But she did blame me for being in contact with her son and allowing myself to be in a relationship with him. And she just told me not to speak with him anymore. And I did not hear from Starman for a few months until he started harassing me on alternate accounts, various roleplay accounts. This would go on for about 2 years. He would stalk me on roleplay accounts and my friends. He would be very abusive towards me, and this would go on for
So he would often pick at little things that you did while you were in this. So I'm assuming you were considered a relationship at this point in time.
Correct.
Okay, and he would often pick a little faults he didn't like with your online profile and what you had said, and so he was quite controlling, to say the least.
Correct. And he would try to force me into a lot. There were, on occasion, I remember he would ask if I had a camera so I could send him nude images of myself or video call with him.
Right.
And during this time, he was in multiple relationships with other minors at the time, but he would tell me that I was the only one he loved, and he wasn't in a relationship with them. They were just stalking him and being parasocial with him. But it turns out he would be in a relationship at the same time and say the exact things he was saying to me to them.
So you went to the parents, and the parents obviously complicit with it, blamed the victims. And then that's when you said, okay, let me go to friends of Star and let me bring that up to them so maybe they could possibly shut this whole thing down. Is that when you came across CD-ROM, or did CD-ROM come across you?
I did not come across CD-ROM until a random post in 2019. He just randomly replied to me, started speaking cryptic, saying that I was banned from social media. That I don't know where he got that information from. As my relative said, there was no court order. We never went to court. I was never banned from social media. I don't know where he got that information from, but it is completely false.
Are you listening to these?
Yeah, you guys don't know the situation. I do. I understand you're all upset. The truth of the matter is that Iris was not a victim. She was an aggressor.
What are your thoughts on that, Iris?
He's just a Starman defender. I would speak out against Starman, and they would have temper tantrums over it.
Yeah.
I was the only one who did not put up with this. Just because Starman3 is a famous YouTuber, just because he appeared on SMG4, does not mean anything to me. They want to paint me and defame me because they do not like me and that I would not be pushed around by this.
All of you want to paint me as the bad guy? Get this through your heads. I am responsible for reporting a number of things that he was hiding to his parents. That's right. I reported my friend out to his parents for correction.
What do you think about that? Like,
Even if he did, I don't think they would have cared, because if they really cared, they would take his devices and turn him into the police.
About Iris and calling me a victim sweeper, or that I was trying to downplay an actual victim of assault. You don't know anything of what you're talking about. So let's talk about Iris, the lady in the tweets. Iris was not a victim of anything. She was a barely functioning teenage woman that was desperate for internet attention.
yeah, I'm gonna stop that there. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I noticed a lot of people commenting on the fact that he says teenage woman, which really does say a lot when you think about it, on how he views teenagers. Now to them, it's not anything.
So we have another clip here. Let's just get into this, and yeah.
That's where people are caught up on.
The reason I quote-unquote blamed the quote-unquote victim is because I spoke to Starman's parents at length about this particular individual. I had several conversations. They said that the entire family, Starman's family, was consistently being doxxed and harassed by this alleged this person, so much so that the two families had to come in contact with each other and were taken to court. And a court order was granted against Iris that she needed to be banned from social media because she was using it beyond irresponsibly.
So what are your thoughts on those allegations, Iris?
My family never came into contact with theirs, and we never went to court. I'm not sure why. If his parents did tell CD that, I'm not sure why they did.
I think, to be honest, if I were to connect the dots, is when you reached out to Starman's mother, she used that as a point of reference. Well, no, we're in talks. It's it's getting sorted. Like, she's been doing this. The doxing situation as well. It's quite a bold allegation to just throw it out there to a victim. Is any of that true? I just want to ask to clear it up.
His house address was already posted, but not by me. It was by someone earlier who tried speaking out to him, and he would use these roleplay accounts to post his address to have people come over.
Wow.
But they did try to dox me and get my legal name and where I lived and threatened to track my IP and do things like that on a burner.
They're trying to do something like that to a 13-year-old?
I was 14 at the time I
14?
received that message.
Wow.
Truly happened. All right.
I maintain my story.
Not pedophile.
He's never had any physical interaction with anybody. And did he goon with some young folks? Yeah, he did. And I very shut up.
Everybody shut the It doesn't matter if it was physical. I don't give a What was it? If it wasn't physical, what was it, CD? What was it?
Swapping messages that I very harshly admonished him for.
Hold on, Knightmare. What kind of messages, CD?
RP and sexual in nature.
With a 13-year-old!
So, Iris, do you have any thoughts on that clip?
It may not have been physical, but he still sexually roleplayed with a minor. He would still ask minors for nudes. He received nudes from minors. He would try to get minors to come live with him. And CD is trying to defend that. I think that says enough.
You're absolutely
And CD knew that.
I'm unclear just because I know how fucking stupid CD is and how gullible and dumb he is. But you're right. He did go through this before. He was called out before. The difference was the audience that he was defending himself to were probably children. They're Roblox players.
Yes, we used to rewind, to be fair. It's like who he was defending him against was probably other.
So we fired him, right? And then the next day, me and Rastov had a long talk with him on the phone, and we were trying to talk sense into him. And we were trying to explain to him that he has to admit his wrongs. And he was still saying that he did nothing wrong. And it was more of like an argument than it was like a good conversation. And here's another issue with CD. He had his parents or his Christian group, whoever it was in the background, coaching him in the call with me and Rastov. And it was really annoying. It's super annoying. And we kept saying, well, who's talking in the background? And he wouldn't tell us who, you know?
Wow.
What's the thing? Before this interview, I was still thinking, like, I don't have that smoking gun on CD. I think he's just a idiot, right? This interview just opened everything up, right? Because now, without a shadow of a doubt, she was one of the victims, and she's trying to out this man, and CD's telling her to shut the fuck up in the tweet, bro. Now, regardless of him being tricked by the parents or whatever, there's no path back.
Dude, the parents clearly, if you're telling the truth, CD, and everything you're saying here, the parents played you like a fiddle. And now you're on Twitter in a screenshot telling one of the victims, hey, you're supposed to be out of this. There's a court order. Idiot. I will say this, if there was a smoking gun on CDRom that would label CDRom a monster like Starman, you're never going to find it now. You're never going to find it now.
Oh, he's wiped those hard drives by now, for sure.
He's actively deleting his internet stuff. Like there's multiple reports of CDRom wiping everything on the internet. So
yep,
it's all gone. Thanks. Sorry. Why doesn't Mike get the same treatment? We already know all the details on the Mike story. That's already been run through.
One of the excuses that he made for his friend was that he's not a PDF because he's not just attracted to kids, he's attracted to everybody. And it's like, if kids are included in that, he's a PDF, you like it was that kind of logic. So like in his mind, he does not believe this guy is actually a bad guy. So because I asked him, I was like, all right, so when does a become when they commit the crime or when they get arrested? And he's like, well, obviously when they commit the crime. I'm like, so you do understand the line of logic that when you make a mistake, you are the criminal. And he's like, well, yeah, but he didn't make a mistake. He's not a criminal. Like, the way he's approaching this is so bad.
Yes. And the entire time while me and Rastov are talking to him, he was being coached by somebody in the background. Whether it was his parents, whether it was his Christian buddies, friend group, someone in the background is coaching him the entire time we're having the conversation. We're trying to explain to him, you need to acknowledge that you're wrong and put out a statement that you're wrong. All right? He wouldn't acknowledge that he was wrong. We tried to explain to him.
I don't think he wanted to lie. I don't think he wanted to lie and say that he wasn't wrong, because he still doesn't believe he was. In the middle of this conversation, right, he was like, you and Keem are the evil ones here because you made me dress up like a gay cop. And I was like, bro, first off, you made the goal. That whole thing was your idea. And he starts panicking. He's like, oh, well, you made me do other things as well. I'm like, bro, you're literally sitting here defending a guy that was talking to children and acting like we're the evil people, bro. Yep. Are you crazy? Like, it was.
He got mad at us once because he goes, my church would, everyone at my church would agree with me that I should forgive this guy. And I just said, there is something flawed with your religion. And he lost his mind.
Freaked out.
He started screaming at me. I go, listen, where does the Bible say it's okay to touch kids? Like, I can't even remember that section because I was seeing red. I started screaming at him that he knows nothing about Christianity. He doesn't know the history of Christianity. He doesn't know the Bible.
Bro, Keem asked CD, he was like, whoever's in the back, if you want to throw down with Bible verses, I'll go verse for verse right now. And
I was trying so hard to bait whoever the was coaching him to come on the line so I knew who the was coaching him. But whoever was coaching him, you're an idiot. You're a idiot. CDRom, you're a idiot.